Hey YouTube family and friends, welcome back to my channel. Glad to have you back. So today I wanted to get into back to the awakening into the void, but I needed to I just needed to tell this story that happened between moving from the house we were getting kicked out of to the new property. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go back to my last Awakening into the Void video to get more details on why we were getting kicked out of this house that my dad was trying to buy before he died. So, in that process, there was a lot we were doing, having sales, getting stuff out of the house into storage, trying to organize everything, 2 houses worth of stuff. Like I said in the last video, there was just a bunch of shit that we were trying to move. And I was seeing somebody at the same time, so that was kind of a distraction, like trying to maintain this long distance relationship with this guy. And just, staying in touch with him, like trying to plan to see him and stuff like that. And there came a point where I was like, you know what? I was talking to him. I was like, we should plan a trip. Like, let's go somewhere. Like, we could go to Miami. Like, we could meet up somewhere fun and, have a good time together. And it's not like he was like short on cash. Like, he had plenty of money at the time. But he was like making all these excuses, like just making it difficult, like trying to say, like, oh, I can't because this, that, and the third. Like, he was just being fucking difficult about it. And I'm such a spontaneous person. I'm like, let's just go. Like, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be so complicated. Like, we could figure shit out. If I'm willing, I'm not asking you to pay for my fucking way. Like, I just want to go on this trip. And he was insistent on making it difficult and just was saying, I don't think this is a good time. I don't think we should go, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, fine, whatever. Like, I'll drop it. Like, we don't have to fucking talk about it anymore. But I was irritated because, this is some shit. Like, when women or people get in relation, definitely women, we want to do things, we want to experience stuff with that person. And guys who are like trying to play the controller or trying to play the role of like, we can't have fun unless I'm initiating the fun or da da da, that kind of mindset. They're gonna fucking put out your flame basically. And just his whole attitude, that's what I felt at that time, was like, you're really trying to stop me from having a good time. Like, I'm going through fucking hell right now trying to move, through properties, and I just need a fucking break. Like, I just need some time to just relax and enjoy myself. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm just going to go to Miami by myself. Like, I'm going to go on this trip. Like, I don't need this fool. Like, I don't need his permission. Like, you don't want to go? Good. Then I'll go by myself. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And so I remember talking to one of my girlfriends. I was like, yeah, I wanted my guy to go with me, but he's just like chickening out, or he's got excuses or whatever. So I'm gonna go. I'm not telling him. I'm just gonna go after my trip is booked. Then he'll find out. This fucking dog. I swear to God, my neighbors are so loud. It's really irritating. Anyway, excuse me. My voice is a little weird today. Um, so I'm telling her about the trip, and she's just like, you're going to go by yourself? I was like, yeah. She's like, I'll come with you. And I was like, oh, I mean, sure, if you want to come to Miami, definitely, like, let's go. We'll just make it a girls trip, you and I. And she was fucking down. She got all of her stuff, like got all her stuff booked, and we were basically all booked to go together. And we got a cool spot, like a Airbnb, a couple blocks from the beach in Miami Beach. And we were set. And I remember I did some petty shit. And again, it's like a matter of immaturity too. Like, it's not anything I would do now at this age, but I used to always like brag about shit on Facebook. And so I put a post on Facebook like, Miami's booked. And I had other things going on that year too. So I was just like, I had like a checklist of all my things that were booked for that year. And then my boyfriend at the time hit me up like, wait, what the fuck? You're going to Miami? I was like, yeah, I'm going to Miami. You said you didn't want to go. I said I wanted to go, so I'm going. Like, I planned a trip. My friend's coming with me. And this fool tried to say, your friend is going on our trip to Miami. I was like, our trip? Like, since you decided you didn't want to go, it's my fucking trip. Like, it was my idea. You didn't want to go, so it's my fucking trip, you know? Sorry I'm cussing so much, but this is how I talk sometimes. Um, and so he was pissed, very fucking pissed. And I didn't care. I was like, this is my thing. Like, now my homegirl's coming with me. I was gonna go alone, but now I have somebody to come with me, so it's great. It'll be better, you know. Not that I wouldn't have had a good time alone, but it's for me, I like to enjoy experiences with somebody else, with at least one other person, a couple people or something like that, because I like to be able to chat and interact in that way. Um, so maybe it was like a few weeks or a month later, we went on our trip to Miami, and it was nice. Like, our apartment was nice. I was working at this kind of, it was like a wine and cheese store, but they also had liquor, so I like brought all this alcohol from where I worked to Miami. I had like a suitcase with like bubble wrap alcohol bottles, and little did I know that we didn't even need it, because if you're a female, you know, in Miami, if you're a decent looking female, you can basically get drinks for free everywhere you go and get pulled into clubs for free. Um, so we did have that privilege upon our arrival, and it was a good time. Like, I was having fun, and I remember, you know, I was like trying to check in with my boyfriend at the time because I felt bad. Like, I let the guilt take over, you know. And I remember calling him, and he was just being such a sour ass, you know, like he couldn't just be like, you know I didn't want to go, but, you know, you have a good time. I'm happy for you. Do your thing. He was more like trying to just make me feel horrible, and kept saying like, I can't believe you brought somebody else on our trip. Like, again, a trip that he didn't want nothing to do with at the time, and was trying to put it off and basically make it on his terms, which I just wasn't down for. Um, so that kind of put a damper on the trip. And my friend was just like, man, fuck that. Like, don't let him control how the outcome of this trip is going to be. Like, we're going to have a good time. Like, let's just, you know, leave that shit, deal with it when you get back. Like, don't fucking bring that negative energy to this trip. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to let his sourpuss ass mood fucking, you know, ruin my trip. So we were having a great time. We went to some clubs. We saw some DJs perform, this particular DJs that I like. And it was great. We and this is why I wanted to tell this story, because it was something significant that happened on the last day. So I'd been to Miami once before, and we were staying at this hotel. I forget what it was called, but they had a rooftop pool, and they would have parties on the roof all the time. And so this particular rooftop, they were hosting a party that day, and you could get in for free as long as you went at a certain time. And so my friend and I, we got there early, and it was hot. Like, you know, we went to Miami in the middle of July. It was fucking ridiculously hot at that time. Still fun, but just like insanely hot, humid. You know, the sun in Miami is just treacherous. Like, it will just burn through your soul. Like, it's so hot. And we're on a rooftop. So we go to this rooftop party, and it's, you know, it's fine. Like, it's slow when we first get there. You have to like pay for wherever you sit, so we were trying to like, you know, sneak sit places, you know, because you couldn't really, all of the chairs cost to sit on. You had to either be in the pool or just, you know, lay on the ground or something like that. So we were just trying to get by sitting on on the lounge chairs and stuff without towels and shit. And after a while, like, you know, it started getting more packed in there, and the pool, like, it was warm. So you couldn't even cool off in the pool. And you had all these people just, you know, getting getting into the pool. It was like a soup. It was disgusting. It was pretty nasty. But as more people are coming in, we're like talking to people and stuff and finding out like a bunch of the people there are like they're on holiday. They're there for like their bachelor party or their bachelorette party. So these are people that are gonna get married and stuff, and they're just acting so debaucherous, like freaking freakazoids in this pool party. And it was just like I could feel the energy shifting, as more and more people were getting there. And my friend and I, we had like a drink, we weren't drunk or anything like that. And so it was just, we're pretty sober, pretty sharp, and you could just feel the shifting energy, and like things were just getting nastier, and just like all these people who were like supposedly getting married, and it would be like the person who's getting married that was acting the worst in these parties, in these parties of people. And at one point, I was walking to the bathroom, and when I was walking out, there was like these three guys sitting, and one of the guys grabbed me and like sat me on his lap. And I was like, like, what are you doing? Like, let me go. What the fuck? And he just wouldn't let me go. And like the guys were like surrounding me, and he just had me sitting on his lap. And I kept saying like, let me go, like trying to like peel myself away from him. And I was making eye contact with these other guys, like trying to like, let him know, like, if this gets too wild, like try to help me out here. This guy's being really fucking aggressive. And finally, like, they let me go. And so then I was starting to get really sketched out. I'm like, this is not a good scene at all. And I went back to meet up with my friend and let her know what was happening. And like, this was, it was such a weird, like, supernatural. I don't know what happened. Like I said, I was relatively sober. I would say the most I was like sun drunk, because the sun was just treacherous. It was like beating our asses out there on a rooftop with the pool reflection, the sun. Like, it was just so freaking hot. We didn't have sun hats or anything like that. And all of a sudden, it's like the whole energy completely shifted in that place. And I don't know if I was like seeing visions, or it was like energetically I could feel and see, like, it's like everybody was a snake or a lizard or something like that. I've All of a sudden I was like, we're in a fucking snake pit. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, it's like I have memories of what it looked like as a snake pit. And I don't know if that's what I was seeing at the time, or if that's just how I remember it, how it felt. But it was just so distinct. And it felt so fucking unsafe. I was like, oh, like I started having like a panic attack, and I was like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know what happened. Some energy shift took over. There's like something really dark up here. We need to get the fuck out of here right now. And so I told my friend, and we left, and I was like panicking. I was like shaking really bad. And she's like, let's just hit the beach. So we started taking a walk, and we started just walking down the shore. And it was nice on the beach because none of the travelers were there. None of the, tourists were there. It was all like local, like Cubans and Haitians and stuff. They were just out on the beach having like barbecues with their families. So that was like what I needed to kind of ground me back into reality. But it was like such a revelation that I had, because I always thought I had this impression that, Miami was a notch better, or some, a little more high class than Las Vegas. But it's definitely the same kind of like dark um, energy and entities that linger in those kinds of places where, there's just creeps, that pose as photographers but really are, sex traffickers. There's like lots of prostitution, involuntary prostitution in those places. human trafficking, lots of drug distribution. There's just a lot of dark shit that goes on in places like Miami and Las Vegas, but Miami is not much different. And so I felt all of that on that rooftop. It just felt so dark and terrifying, honestly. And yeah, walking on the beach after that was like what I needed to like pull out of my panic attack, because it was too much. I'm super sensitive, and that's what's been happening for me over the years since the start of my spiritual awakening. Is like I've just become so hyper aware of energy around me, and that was like another experience that I had to make to like wake me up to what is safe for me and when I need to go. Like when it's time to go, I got to listen to my body because it's going to tell me when it's time. Um, so yeah, that like the lesson I learned in that trip was just how these places, you want to have a good time. Like it was fun until it wasn't, and it's not like you can't go to a place like Miami and have a good time in a more gentle and soft kind of way, but it's just so imperative to be aware of the environment and to not be consuming like drugs and alcohol. Like we weren't that drunk, but we had been drinking the night before and the night before, so what's not to say the shit was still in our systems, and it was just too much. And it's so easy to turn, if you're not self-aware. Like it's so easy to get pulled into situations that you would normally not do or not get into, just because that's the energy that's swirling around you. So if you don't have the will to pull yourself out, then you'll easily get sucked in, which is why like it felt like a snake pit. Like I felt like I was gonna get choked into that shit in that rooftop party. Literally, a guy was like holding me down for no fucking reason, just being a total creep. Him and his buddies, and it was just crazy. And you know, had I gone with my boyfriend, I mean, I say boyfriend, like I think because we were in a I think neither of us ever really took that relationship quite seriously, but um, it would have been a different experience. But being that I was there with a beautiful blonde chick, like two young ladies on their own in this strange town, were kind of targets to a degree, definitely not a safe situation for us young ladies. And yeah, it kind of opened my eyes about the party scene and the drinking scene, and recognizing like maybe this isn't so much for me. Like maybe I need to rethink like this lifestyle of partying. Not that that was the end, but it was definitely opening my eyes to that lifestyle and like what it really is and what kind of energy swirl around in that world. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to share that story about Miami, because it was a trip. Like it was scary as fuck, that moment on the rooftop. And like I said, we've been to other parties and stuff like that, and nothing quite that extreme happened. And I was, like I said, relatively sober, so it was just interesting that that happened. Um, but it's just all part of waking up and recognizing that the world is not what it seems. And if we don't have full agency over our being, then other entities and forces will pull us into situations that are not in alignment with our highest path and highest desires. So on that note, I'm going to end this video here, and I will be back with another video soon. So thank you for stopping by, my fellow YouTubies, and I will see you again soon. Bye.